Welcome back to more Defiance.
There had to be a way to escape the spirit world without the help my master was pleased to deny me. Only in the material realm would I have a chance to seek my destiny, or change it.
Mwahaha. Now the question is, get the fuck out of here. God. Thankfully you don't have to fight these dudes, so we're just gonna run on by. Will Raziel seek his destiny, or deny it? Or just give up and go home? We'll have to play on to find out. Haha. This cemetery is very windy. I get the feeling it feels bigger than it actually is. But I never really learned this area very well. And I'm not done navigating it either. You can see the title of this video. The Dark Temple is going to make up maybe 5 minutes of this video. Most of it is just going to be wandering around the cemetery, annoyingly enough. Again, I ask the question, why are these things here when they don't provide you with souls? And you can start to see combat with Raziel is annoying, actually. He's not as good of a fighter as Kain, and I noticed that he wasn't very responsive when I wanted him to do something. Not so much in that fight, but in fights we're going to get later on this video. For now, let's hope that we can find a way out of the spectral realm.
In this crypt, I discovered ethereal gases rising from the moldering corpse within. As I neared, I felt a distinct spiritual pull, and the closer I approached, the more that pull intensified.
Hit down and square to do this.
In the end, it was not difficult. I projected myself down into that tomb and found I was reborn into the material world. I was cursed with a loathsome and repugnant vessel. But with an effort of will, that too could change.
Congrats. Raziel is now officially a zombie. Let's see what's over here.
These gargoyles quickened as I drew near, triggering the door to close. I would need to find some means of approaching the door without being observed.
Get ready for a lot of dialogue like that in the start of this video. Probably the first half of this video is going to be a lot of Raziel telling the player what they need to do. These stones charge up the Reaver. I am really considering putting a cheat in to just leave it charged up the whole time, just to save myself some time and effort. Pinnacles that we don't need to fight. You might also notice the Necropolis theme playing, or a remix of it. It's good. I like it. But we got to get to moving, because I don't want to fight things if I don't have to.
She says she won't go near the place.
I tell you, the pillars are haunted.
Haunted?
I heard a woman's voice talking and moaning, and there was no one there.
How many vampires have you killed? And you can't face down one ghost?
I knew who these were. Vampire hunters, scouring the countryside, destroying what had once been my kind.
My God, what is that? A vampire or a demon?
Where?
Here.
Get him!
Quickly! No mercy!
You know, Raziel would have been more effective if he just started killing them right away instead of announcing his presence. I know one of them already discovered him, but still. That's the difference between him and Kain. Kain would have just gone in there and started killing them. But then again, Kain's a doer, and that's why he's the boss. Raziel, look, he means well, but he doesn't make the best decisions. See the ending to Soul Reaver 2, for example. And see several things he's going to do in this game. So you can see how easily Raziel can get overwhelmed. And there are a lot of these forced fights as Raziel, which are more annoying because Raziel doesn't have the tools Kain does to deal with them.
These were Mobius's hunters, mercenaries enlisted in his crusade to exterminate the vampires. His insignia was unmistakable. But this meant I'd been captive in the underworld for centuries. I had lost 500 years. Then I knew what ghost it was that haunted the pillars. Ariel, the specter of the murdered Balan's guardian. Perhaps she could provide the answers I sought. But first I would have to find a way out of this cemetery.
So 500 years in the future, that means we are in the Blood Omen timeline. Awesome, we get to go see Ariel because she likes Raziel, right? Right? To be fair, she tolerated him in Soul Reaver 1.
This temple's facade hinted at some ancient vampire origin, for it bore the sign of the Reaver and was marked with the elemental symbol of light. The mystery of the Reaver might be answered within, but this edifice was too high for me to reach.
Raziel, you have a bit of an edifice complex. No? Hey, at least I made a joke referencing classic literature. That's not my usual style of humor. He really does love that word.
Another temple, this one marked with the elemental symbol of darkness. This edifice, like the other one, was too high for me to reach.
I'm going to need you to get a pair of working wings because how many things have you been unable to get to because of your broken wings? But seriously, he's like one of those people that's not very educated and they learn one fancy word and so they want to use it over and over and over again. I'm not going to say I've never said discombobulated over and over again. That would never happen.
An ancient gate, sealed by the powers of light and darkness, barred the way to the pillars beyond. To depart this place and continue my journey, I would have to find the means to open it.
Awesome. So that's what we get to do. And as you should have noticed by now, we get a ton of that dialogue, like I was saying before. It's interesting they talk about Raziel has the will to project what he wants himself to look like. So why didn't he make himself look like Vampire Raziel? That would have been cool. I know it's continuity. The developers just didn't want to have the player playing as a different looking Raziel. At least not completely. He does look a little derpy in this game compared to Soul Reaver 2. I think out of the original versions, he looks the best in Soul Reaver 2. I've said that's my favorite look for him. Although he looks really good in the remasters of Soul Reaver 1 and 2.
Raziel, fallen hero, renegade and traitor.
What is this? How do you know me?
Raziel, what are you?
Why should any know your name?
You are nothing.
It seemed my method of entering the physical realm was not altogether original. But where had these beings come from?
And this is Raziel's introduction to the Hilden. Kind of like the Seraphan Lord, who I think is the only one we've seen do this up until this point. Since the pillars are now corrupted, since it's 500 years later, they can at least somewhat come through. Now we do see in Blood Omen 2 where physically they come through. At least I'm pretty sure they're not possessing bodies in that Hilden Citadel. And they're going around saying you, but they don't even have the decency to tell Raziel what he did. Kind of weird. So since we're in the Blood Omen time frame and the pillars are corrupted, that's why they can come through. I'm still not sure how the events of Soul Reaver 2 constitute them falling into the Hilden's trap, considering Kain stops them in Blood Omen 2. It's just weird that they can only come through essentially as spirits. Which I guess is kind of what Raziel is, technically. Oh joy, more combat. I don't know if this is a forced fight. I probably could have avoided it, but you know, Hilden, gotta kill them. Get out of the way. But yeah, it would have been cool if we got Vampire Raziel, because I would think he would be much more of a fan of that look than his current look. Just a guess on my part. And more Hilden. And his telekinesis isn't as good either. Ha, that guy got set on fire. Nice. I didn't even notice that when I was playing. And you can see the Reaver getting charged, which is also pretty nice. I will use that ability later this video. You hold down square and then release to use a charged Reaver attack. Whee! I do like that glide. It's unwieldy as hell, but I like it. I'm not going to show me swimming back here. We have to come back this way, but I'll show going through here this first time, because as not great as my swimming is, I don't think it's too bad. Swimming along, swimming along. I don't remember if there's any more swimming in this game. This is the only swimming section I actually remember from my original playthrough. Although I do remember another underwater section, but we'll get there much later. Yeah, so we got Hilden to deal with now. Hooray. That's gonna be fun. And luckily this time I came up right where I needed to go. That was not intentional, by the way. And we just need this as a platform. In Soul Reaver 1, that would have required at least 3 or 4 moves, probably per block. But that's the key we need. I did not have nearly as easy of a time swimming back as I did getting over this way, so that's why you're getting the jump cut. And for some reason, the game starts playing the Spectral Realm theme here. I'm not sure why. It's an odd choice, probably a bug. I mean, I like the Spectral Realm theme, but I like it where it's supposed to be, which is in the Spectral Realm. And we're gonna get it for a little while. Oh boy, another forced fight. So that'll give me time to tell stories that were on my original video, and I want to keep them on my YouTube channel. This will give you a little insight into what I have to deal with taking the bus, as most of these are bus stories from 12 years ago. I thought it was funny, around this time I had talked about waiting for a bus, and this random ass dude shows up and starts asking me, have you accepted Jesus Christ? And I'm not making fun of anybody who's Christian. Hell, I'm a Christian. But my default answer regardless is I just say yes, because I feel like that at least increases the chance that maybe they won't talk to me further. That did not work in this guy's case. He just wanted somebody to talk to, I guess. And it seems like there's a lot of those crazy religious people. And I don't mean you're crazy because you're religious. I mean, they're crazy and religious. I remember this dude trying to talk to me on the bus, and I told him I believe in God and all that. And I couldn't answer a question he asked me. One, I didn't care. And in his mind, that meant I'm going to hell. Oh, you press up and square here to go through this. And the rule of thumb is get as close to the edge as you can, then jump, and you should be okay. I think I've told the story in another video at some point. So finally I just tell the guy, because he's just going on and on. I'm like, look, dude, I'm tired. I've been working all day. I just want to sit here in peace and go home. And the conversation ended with him telling me that I'm going to hell. So of course my response was, well, that's fine. I'll see you there. And that's where all the cool music will be anyways. And that same religious guy was on the bus another day and harassing some girls. And the bus driver actually told him to stop doing it.
This edifice, marked with the elemental light symbol, was clearly much older than the ruins in the rest of the cemetery. The door was far too high to reach, and to open it, it seemed the Reaver would need to be imbued with the power of darkness. Clearly, I had more to accomplish before I could discover what lay within.
At least this game has started to calm down a little on this type of dialogue, but yeah, it's still a bit obnoxious. All I was trying to do was enter the body, not fight the Slua. And apparently this is a forced fight, so you can't skip it. I didn't try to avoid it. I heard it was forced, so I figured, all right, fine. We're doing it. But yeah, so the bus driver said something to him, and he tried to say, well, I'm not doing anything. It's like, dude, you've got people you're talking to about something they don't care about, and they can't leave. Yeah, it's forced. I'm still irritated because the driver never said anything when the guy was bothering me, but you get a couple cute college girls and oh, we'll say something to him. Asshole. All of them, just assholes. And around the time I did this original Let's Play, they had come up with this law that outlawed normal bags at grocery stores. You know how you get like the paper or the plastic? But they allowed stores to sell bags. So they made this law under the guise of being environmentally friendly. But how environmentally friendly is it if you can still sell bags? Doesn't make sense. This will relate to a bus store in a minute. And they know people are going to forget bags and need to buy some. It's going to happen several times every day. Never mind if they wanted to be eco-friendly, they could stop letting businesses pump chemicals into the drinking water to save money. That would be nice. Just like it would be nice to not get Spectral Realm ambience here. That should be saved for the Spectral Realm. Oh, by the way, I don't remember that ever happening on my original playthrough, which I played on the actual PlayStation 2. The city would eventually have to remove that law, but unfortunately, grocery stores still follow that policy, so you don't get free bags anymore. I love that I got that guy juggled there. I always find that amusing. Thank God it's gonna go away after we go through this door, because that was annoying. So there was a guy on the bus ranting about that, and I get it. And it's funny because the guy he was ranting to was also blind. And then once that guy got off the bus, the other blind guy and I were just kind of talking about it like, what the hell was that guy's problem? I get the law is stupid, but he was just drunk and homeless and ranting about it. It was weird. Awesome. But that apartment I lived at the time, I had some really weird adventures. Between the buses and the walk home, yeah. There was this side street I used to take. And one time walking down it, this woman's walking the other way on the sidewalk. So we're gonna pass each other walking. And she says hi to me, so I just say hi back. That was my first mistake. I should have just kept on walking. Neither of us broke stride, by the way. And then she just asked, so, do you want to buy some pussy? And I'm like, I'm good, thanks. Just trying to go home. And then I get about 2 minutes down the sidewalk and I see a bunch of cop cars, so she might have been an undercover cop. Who knows? That's something I never thought I would experience, and so far have not experienced again. And another time walking down that same side street. Oh yeah, be quick there. I had this lady say hi to me. She was just sitting on this little bench or something on the side of the road. And she had this big ghetto looking dude standing behind her. Yeah, these chicks annoyed me, so I had to say fuck it and just deal with them so I could figure out where I'm actually supposed to go. She says something to me I couldn't quite hear. I was on the phone with my dad at the time. But it sounded like she was making a joke, so I just smiled at her and kept walking. And then I heard her yelling, "Looking good!" So I'm not sure if she was also a prostitute or what that was all about. Don't get me wrong, I'm cool with somebody acknowledging that I'm a sexy beast. But still, it was kind of weird. Again, I'm not used to getting compliments from women. I assume she wanted something. But thankfully I have not had to deal with that because I don't live in that area anymore. And haven't for a long time. And am definitely moving at the end of my lease. Where I live now. Which I've been living at for what will be 11 years by the time that lease ends. Yeah, things have just gotten too crappy where I live now. And rent's coming down in the city I live in. So I feel like it's time to move somewhere else. Which sucks because I hate moving. Awesome, some more Hilden to deal with. I think whenever you're in a forced fight with a Hilden, I think that's when they put up these green barriers. I think these were actually in Blood Omen 2 to some degree. Or maybe that was just the green energy walls that came up that you had to use the glyph magic to turn off. Or find another way around. I can't remember. It's been a few years since I played Blood Omen 2. Although I guess for you guys, that'll be relatively recently. And that game always has felt like the odd duck in the series. I love this camera angle, by the way. It's amazing. Although I guess we're getting an up close and personal view of Raziel using the Reaver. Which I guess could have its benefits. I don't know. Anyways, moving on. You should be able to see what I was on about with this cemetery. It's very windy. There's a lot of twists and turns, and I just can't get my head around where you're supposed to go. Now, obviously I made it for the video, but it's not something I could accurately navigate. Yeah, I need to get up on the platform, please. Raziel, get up on the platform. Thank you. And another minor use of the realm shifting when going into the spectral realm. Very nice. And Kain left us a body. Awesome. Thank you, Kain. He's a nice guy. Sometimes. But not really. Hey, remember these doors? Use the Reaver to open them. At least we didn't get those goofy, ghostly vocals that we got in Soul Reaver 2. That looks inspired. Keep in mind, this game came out in 2003. When we pass through that, you would see a Stargate transition, like I did in my original playthrough, but I just don't feel like putting the effort into it. Yeah, it's a Stargate. I mean, look at that. It looks just like a Stargate. Yeah, it doesn't look made out of rock, and there are no Egyptian symbols on it, but come on. Giant ring with a ramp leading up to it? Come on. Come on. It's a Stargate.
As I stepped through, I felt a sense of displacement as some arcane sorcery transported me away. This was clearly some ancient ruin of a vampire civilization. Perhaps here I would finally decipher the riddle of my destiny. Throughout these ruins, I found murals depicting the seminal events of vampire history. These scenes commemorated a great war between the ancient vampires and their rivals. In triumph, they banished their adversaries from the world and raised the pillars as the lock that binds them. The image of the Reaver was inscribed throughout this place, always depicted with reverence. The vampire's holy weapon was destined to be borne by their prophesied hero, for whom it was forged. But if this was my destiny, why had the Reaver tried to consume me?
I don't know, Raziel. Maybe we will find out eventually. Yeah, I'm not fighting these things. There's no point.
This scene depicted the appointment of the original vampire guardians, each summoned to serve when the pillars were raised. Each guardian is aligned to the principle of the pillar he serves, and the balance guardian is the axis of them all.
A lot of that is just summarizing events from Blood Omen 1 and Soul Reaver 2. That's not where I need to go. Oh boy, and shades can still come through there. Awesome. That's fun. That's what you want. So you want to go to the specific door that I'm trying to find right now, so you don't have to deal with these Slua. We got another forced fight on our hands, which is just lovely. But you can notice a theme. We got this a lot in the temples in Soul Reaver 2. Raziel noticing various murals and commenting on them, and making a lot of assumptions. And as Kain pointed out, stones too can lie. So we'll have to see if that has any relevance later. I still have my theories about the forges in Soul Reaver 2. I'm still thinking, and I don't think I talked about this on Soul Reaver 2, that those were put there by Mobius and his crew to get Raziel an option to get those abilities added to his Reaver, so that he could eventually end up where he did at the end of Soul Reaver 2. Now, whether or not they planned on Kain being alive or not at that point, I'm not sure, because Raziel was supposed to kill Kain during that one encounter that they talked about in Soul Reaver 2. But obviously that didn't happen, which is why Raziel isn't stuck in the sword anymore. Or at least this version of Raziel isn't. But that's a theory on my part, because those Reaver elements are temporary. You have to use fonts to re-imbue the Reaver with those elements. But you don't in this game, thankfully.
At last it was done. The Reaver was forged with darkness. As I felt this new power coursing within the Wraithblade, I knew that now the Light Temple would open to me.
Awesome. And when you swing it, I believe it makes the same sound effect it does in Soul Reaver 2, which is cool. And you have to use the Dark Reaver to turn out these lights. And I'm pretty sure once we get the Light Reaver, we do the same thing, but to turn lights on. I do wish he acknowledged the fact that the Reaver had that ability at one point. But since those effects were temporary, I can't help but feel like those were something put there by Mobius. I could be wrong. None of the research I've found supports that, so it's probably not the case. But it seems odd that you would have two vampire temples with the ability to imbue the Reaver with the same elements. We will be getting all 4 elements from Soul Reaver 2, as well as 2 new ones that I believe were cut from Soul Reaver 2. Dude, get the fuck out the way. These elements that we're going to pick up for the Reaver are now permanent, which is very nice and makes switching between the elements really easy. So you can see what I mean. The Dark Temple took almost no time out of this video. It's very quick. Thankfully, regaining these old Reaver elements doesn't take too long. The new ones will be a little more involved. So now you'll get to see a use of this Reaver charge from these stones. And this is actually really cool. The effect you get for the Dark Reaver. It's actually useful in this game. So those doors we couldn't pass before, now we can. And I'm hoping you can use this in combat so enemies can't see you. Yeah, I'm definitely putting that cheat in because, my God, it'll save me some time. I'll wait for a little while. I'll wait at least till after the Light Temple. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see y'all next time with more Legacy of Kain Defiance.